Yay, we are live. Harshil, you made it. Like just
I
in
made
time.
it.
I already had a conversation. What am I going to do if you are not showing up? And I was like, I cannot talk about all the front end stuff that we planned today. So I was in my head, I was like, already thinking I would probably have shown some back end and MCP stuff, but I'm so happy that you are here. Do you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I know we were kind of planning to do this for a while. Finally, I have like an interesting topic that I can present on the stream. But yeah, to do a quick introduction, my name is Harshil Agrawal. I work as a developer educator at Cloudflare, and I do a lot of different stuff. I've been playing around with MCPs for a while. I am recently trying out different front end tech stack, and that's what we're gonna cover in this live stream. But apart from that, I also build a few side projects, uh, which where basically I'm trying out these different tech stacks and just gonna share more about my experience doing that, and yeah, hopefully answer any questions that anyone might have on the stream.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for being here. And should we jump straight in? Because I think we want to connect Hono, and we talk a lot about Hono because Honc is Hono is an important part, and we want to see how that whole stack would interact with the React router and TanStack. Yeah, so maybe just take us to your code.
Sure. So what I have done is I thought maybe it would be interesting to get things started from the scratch.
Sure.
So let me try to present my screen. All right, I am going to do my entire screen, which is going to be a bit more fun. And all right, okay. So now that we have my terminal on the live stream, you can see nothing is in here right now. What I really want to do is, okay, I'm going to take a step back and talk about what I am been trying to do and why I have come to like make certain decisions with the applications that I have been building, right? Uh, so if we at Cloudflare, we recently, not recently, but it's been a while that we announced a Vite plugin, which allows people to use, any kind of front end framework on Cloudflare, which is using Vite under the hood. Now, this basically enabled a lot of possibilities for folks, and one of them that I see myself being excited about is the separation of front end with the back end. Now, what I really mean by this is uh, previously, before this, I would basically kind of write my backend in the way the frameworks would ask me to do. So, if you have been building with Next.js, there is a specific way that you need to write your APIs in Next.js, which is fine if you are like building, if you're really into Next.js. But if you want to like port to a different tech stack for any region, it becomes a bit annoying. And this separation of the front end and the back end is also really useful if you are collaborating with someone on these projects. Now, I am working on a couple of these projects with different friends. They have different skill sets, and not everyone is like a full stack developer. Someone is really good at front end, someone is really good at back end, and having this separation really enables us to build applications faster, test things faster, and push new features faster.
So
So
it
yeah,
So it basically allows you to write the Hono JS framework to be a backend thing, and then you can bring in a friend, and whatever front end knowledge they have, they can
exactly.
just keep being in their stack. So they can build a React app on top, but they can also use a different stack like Vue.js or any of those if they would like to, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
nice.
All right. Enough of talking. I
Sorry,
am
sorry
gonna.
for
No,
interrupting
no, no,
you. So,
no
but
worries,
it's
no
just,
worries,
but
no worries. I
okay.
feel I've talked a lot, so let's get into like building this. Now, the first thing again, use the C3 command that is npm create Cloudflare. I am gonna call this, I don't know, React Hono app. Now for this one, I'm gonna go with a framework starter, and that is gonna be React. Now, again, you can go with any of these which has a Vite, but again, we are talking about React, so I'm gonna go ahead with React. I'm gonna select TypeScript with SWC. This is gonna bootstrap the project for us, install all the required dependencies, and once it's installed, we can just go ahead and add more stuff.
Will it also have Hono already in there, or is it only the React component?
So right now it's just gonna have the React component in
Okay.
there. So we will be adding Hono by ourselves later on. Let's just say I want to initialize it as a Git repo, and I don't want to deploy it now. So I'm going to select no, and let's go to React. All right, I misspelled React.
That's okay. Then you know this was for the demo.
Exactly. All right, I am gonna open it on code because I use Claude a lot. So Windsurf is, I'm not making the most of Windsurf now. But anyways, all right. So over here we now have a React app. I hope this is like zoomed enough for the folks, but if not, just let me know.
I can see it well enough. So
Awesome. All right. So in here we have a Vite config file, and it already has configured the Cloudflare Vite plugin as well as the React Vite plugin. So this is good. We don't need to really do anything around here. We also have a worker file. This is where we can basically write our API calls, right? So we see that this template already gives us an example where we have like an API endpoint which will send a response Cloudflare. And then we have the source file, which contains all the React related code, all the front end related code in here. In the app.tsx is where we have like our front end code for this application. Let's start the development server to see what it looks like. And if I navigate to this, we have a simple application which is using Vite, React, and Cloudflare. If I can use the count, it increments the count. I can also click on this, and we now are making basically an API call and get the response Cloudflare. Just gonna, I don't know why it always pops this up now, but anyways, I'm gonna refresh it. I'm gonna zoom the network tab.
yeah, that's good. I can see it better now.
Yeah, awesome. I did that because I want to show folks that it's actually making an API call, and it's not just doing something else. So now if I click on this, we see it hits the API endpoint and then sends us the response Cloudflare. So this template by itself gives us like a gives us like a separation of concern for our front end and our backend. So our front end is now living in the source directory, our backend is living now in the worker directory. But again, it's like plain worker code, which if you think about it, if you're going to start, adding endpoints, it's not going to be readable, it's not going to be maintainable. And that's where Hono comes in the picture.
So let's install Hono, I would say.
Awesome. So let's get started with Hono. I always, for some reason, need to check the docs because I feel I always miss out on some of the other steps. I don't need to create. Sorry, yeah.
I mean, copy pasting is a very is best practice, I would say. So
I have change of opinions now. It's like using AI to do stuff is the best practice now.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe that's true. Copy pasting and AI. So that is best practice. Especially for me, copy pasting is good because I often do so many typos, and that ties in really well to AI because AI fixes my typos. So it's also really good. It doesn't matter if I have a typo with AI. So yeah, maybe in 10 years my writing will be, I don't know, I will be not able to spell anymore. No, just kidding. Okay, so you added in Hono.
Exactly, I added in Hono. Now I need to do is just to add our endpoint. API, and all right, all I had to do was just hit tab and nothing else. Anyways, but what we did was instead of like using the worker code now, we are using Hono to build our APIs, start building our APIs.
Yes.
So if I now, I might have to restart the server. I'm gonna run npm run dev again, come back to our application, just gonna refresh it again. Things look the same. Now if I click on this, interestingly, we didn't get the response, but it made a call. The call was a success. And I think I know the issue over here. Instead of message, we should call it name. And now if I test this, we get a message, hello from workers.
Nice.
So this is like a really good starting point, but it starts getting a bit complicated as we start adding more pages to our application. And that's where something like TanStack router or React router comes into the picture. Now you can do the same thing with the React router template that we saw in the C3 command, right? Because it will again give you a separate folder where you have your front end code and a worker folder where you can like basically write your worker code. So just install Hono, configure it, and you can use that. So still have the same thing going on with React router and Hono. But what I want to do today is like try out TanStack query. I have used this. I have started using it. I am not an expert at TanStack. I'll be honest in here, but I have started using it. I find it really interesting with a lot of the things that they are doing. I would not call myself a huge fan yet. Maybe in the future I would become a huge fan. But yeah, so we're gonna again like follow the documentation for this and start uh, adding things for adding TanStack router.
Ooh, they have wipe coding support. I'm just seeing that there. Interesting.
They do have that, and it's I still haven't used like this a tool called
Yeah.
Vibe Rules. It's something on my list I want to try out. Like try using Vibe Rules and see like what kind of problem it's trying to solve.
Yeah, makes sense. It's the first time I'm seeing that in the documentation, like the wipe coding support thing. So that's why it grabbed attention, I would say. So
yeah, I have read a bit about it, and I think what it does is it basically kind of creates those rules for your applications. If you're using TanStack, it would create the rules for TanStack so that your AI tool knows how to use TanStack in their application. But again, this
okay.
is something I haven't tried yet, so I might be wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, sorry, it just piqued my attention, but we
Yeah.
can just go normally to the documentation and include now TanStack to the app.
Yep.
And it basically TanStack helps me to manage multiple pages in a React app, right? That's
So kind of yes. So TanStack has like a lot of things. Let me maybe go back over here, and as you can see, not that. As you can see, it has like TanStack Start, which is like a bundle of all the tools that TanStack provides. So there is TanStack Router, which allows us to build or add routing to our React application. Right now, our application is like a simple one-page application, which is fine. But as we build on adding more features to our application, we might need different routes for different functionality. So let's just say we want to have like a login page, we'll need a login route, and we cannot really just do it, in like an easy way with React, with just, create a login.tsx file. And then if we route to it, it would not really uh, route to that particular page. And that is where TanStack router and even React router helps, like configuring the routing for this. And not just that, with that you can like have a proper directory structure. You can also have it also gives you like a type safe routing. So let's just say you create a new folder, and then you have like a new file in that. In this example, again, login.tsx. TanStack is automatically going to create like a couple of required code for you, so you don't have to add on that code again and again by yourself, which is something I really like about TanStack query. It takes care of that for me, so I don't really need to worry about it. I'll come to it. We'll probably see this when we add a few pages to this. But yeah, that's like a quick
That's a
summary
quick
about
intro,
TanStack
yeah.
query. Yeah, TanStack router. And again, they have like other tools like TanStack query, table, form. I don't know what virtual pager and store is. Even I don't know about Ranger, but I know about TanStack DB. It basically allows you to build how do you call it, a local first application, and it
Hmm.
can connect to any kind of like database. I built like a very simple demo with Cloudflare D1, which was quite interesting. But anyways, coming back to TanStack router, let's go to the docs, and I'm going to go to quick start, and we need to now install a couple of packages. So we are installing TanStack router. We are also installing the dev tools, helps with debugging, and we also need to add the router plugin. All right, now this is what we need to do is also configure the Vite plugin for TanStack router, because it's gonna for yeah, this is something I'm still like trying to understand why different meta frameworks which are built on top of React need their own Vite plugin. But my understanding is that because they are doing something more than what just React does by itself, they need Vite to basically compile that code. So in my vite.config file, I need to add, oops, not in here. I need to first import it. And then add the configuration. Save this, and we also need to do a couple of things. Create the following routes. So let's do that. In my source, I need routes, and then routes.tsx. All right, so this is basically creating kind of like a root route in there for us, and I should call it root and not route. So
And
if
I
we,
understand correctly, you need to have those, right? You cannot build without. Just kind of
yeah,
the
exactly,
default
we
setting.
need to have these, and one reason we need to have like kind of have a root in here is this is gonna basically wrap up our whole application. So
Hmm.
no matter whichever route we go to, as we can see in here, it has like a few UI elements in here. So it has like a link to our homepage, it has a link to our about page. So all the pages now are gonna have all these links. So think of it like basically, having layouts for our pages. We don't want to repeat ourselves like adding navigation each time to each page. We can have basically add the layout components in here. Right, now we need an index.tsx file. So I'm gonna create that in here, and I'm just gonna use the same code that we had from like the template
Hmm.
to display in here.
And then do
And
you also need the about? No.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have linked it over here, and this
Yeah.
is something interesting with TanStack. If I don't do it, it's gonna throw me TypeScript errors. So if I need to remove this link, otherwise it's gonna give me a TypeScript error, because in our code we are specifying there is an about page, but we don't really have an about page, right? It's gonna throw an
So
error. So yeah, go ahead.
so either you create the about page or you remove the link.
Exactly. Or the
Okay.
alternative is to like have a not found page, so that even if you
Hmm.
like configure this, the page is not there, it's always going to route to the not found page. All right. The last thing, I think this is the last thing that we need is update our main.tsx file. I'm gonna paste this in here.
Hey,
Save
but wait,
it.
now we don't have the about root, or did you do that now? Or
I did not. I think
have you
I want to
removed the
keep
link?
it. I want to keep it in there right now.
But have you removed the link? Sorry, I missed.
I haven't. I
or
haven't.
you
I
haven't.
haven't.
Okay, okay, good. Sorry, I
I
was just
haven't.
like, okay,
That's what I want to try out. Let's have the link in there. Let's not create the page and see what happens.
okay, good point. Okay, I was wondering. We just talked about it, and then
Yeah.
we didn't do it. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. We want to see error messages. Basically, that's what you are saying.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, we don't want the code-based route configuration. Now, if I have done everything right, we should be able to run the application. And I see we already got an error.
Where's your error? Wait.
It does not export any
Any
route
piece.
page. This is likely a mistake. Okay. So just this whole code does not export any route piece. So just gonna check. Right. Okay. So again, this is very specific to how TanStack router works. We are not having we're not exporting a route in here.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to export a route and not our component.
Because you copy pasted from the previous.
Exactly. All right. It's going to be this, and the component that we want is app. I also need to import this. Oh, automatically imported. That's like these are a few niche things that TanStack does really well. I did not import it. I saved the file, and TanStack automatically imported for me.
That's cool.
So now if we go to our server, it generated the whole route tree for us. And all right, yeah, okay. Silly mistake, because we have it in here. Just gonna move this.
Okay.
Oh my god, I don't want logos now. Do I need to really do that? I'm just gonna update the imports. Wheat SVG would be
okay.
somewhere here, I think. Yeah. So basically, we need to update the imports.
Because you moved the file, yeah, makes sense. And then
Exactly. We still don't have the wheat SVG. I need to figure out where it is. Is it in public? It's in public. Okay. This is gonna be interesting. I haven't done this earlier, so let's see. Can I do? No, I cannot do aliases as well. For now, I'm just gonna remove this because I need to figure out how do we render
a logo
image
or
that is in. Yeah, exactly. Like something that stays in like the public directory. It should basically work, but
it's like, okay, we have one logo less.
anyway, so we have the app up and running now. The account still works. API call still works.
Hey, wait, but we didn't see the error message. You said we probably get one because we don't have the about thing, or did you add top secretly the about and I haven't seen it?
Yeah, I still haven't added it. So if we go to about, we get a not found. So TanStack automatically handled that, which is good. But now let's just go ahead and add the about page, about.tsx. And I did not do anything. I just created the about page, and TanStack gave me kind of the boilerplate code by itself. So now I can, just add things, make it look pretty, and that's it. Now if I refresh it, go to about, we now have the about page.
Okay, cool.
So I don't think we have like a lot of time to like dive more into things. Uh,
Yeah, we try to keep it always half an hour and we have
yeah.
5 more minutes. It depends. If you dive into something in 5 minutes, let's do it. But if you feel you would open a hole and we stick into that hole for like 2 hours, probably we need to have a different time to talk about it.
Right. I think for this stream, I think we are like at a good point now. Like we talked about, like TanStack, we talked about the separation of concern between the front end and the back end. Again, like if you have a front end developer, all they need to worry about is like, working in the source directory. They don't need to really care about what's going on under in the worker directory. And with adding Hono, it also makes it really easy to add API routes, also add any kind of middleware that Hono provides. Let's just say you want to add
Mhm.
auth for this, you can use the Hono's auth middleware. You can do CORS, you can use a CORS middleware and stuff like that. So you don't need to like reinvent the wheel by creating those middleware functions by yourself. Use what is already available from Hono and just just use this. The other really good thing about this is because I am building an application which is not using just like a regular worker, but like an email worker as well. Now all this code lives like in like a single worker file. So instead of doing like a default export default app, I can just say the fetch handler should point to app, and the email handler should point to the email logic that I have written, right? So you can have different handlers in here. You can have like a schedule handler, basically run cron. You can have queues in here. You can have email worker, your fetch handler.
So you can
So basically, yeah,
so you can bind to different services on Cloudflare.
exactly, because
I
you
I
can
never
buy.
tried I never tried out the email server, but I assume that's also something that lives on Cloudflare, right? And that you can connect to. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I have been playing around a lot with the email worker. So what you can basically do is have have like a forwarding or an alias created for your email address, and whenever like some an email is sent to that particular alias, you can basically run an email worker. With that, you can basically do anything. You can check who is the sender, check the content. Maybe if you want to do like an auto reply, do that. If you want to, I don't know, like uh, add AI in there, like do that as well. So there are like a lot of possibilities with email workers. You can also, one of the things that I have been doing is like whenever I subscribe to a lot of newsletters, don't get a time to read all of them. So I have like an alias which I use on those newsletters. Whenever they send a new issue, my email workers run and they get the content, extract the links, because oftentimes they have like really useful links to different resources, extract that link and store it in like a database for me, and I can like refer them whenever I want, and then decide what if I want to keep that link or just remove that. So like one small example that I am toying around with email workers.
Nice. Yeah, and I think I also would like to try them out. So, but also now that you show me how to work with TanStack and React, maybe that's my first steps into front end land again. I don't know. Let's see.
So I don't know how much you have been using Claude Code, but I have been having like a lot of fun with Claude Code creating the UI. One thing I would not recommend yet of using Claude Code is to write like the business logic, because for some reason it
Yeah.
always like mess things up and I have to manually go in there and make the changes. And I feel I would be able to do it faster than like do it with Claude Code.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Windsurf, but you said you have some takes on Windsurf. You don't like it that much, I assume. But well, I haven't tried it for front end stuff, so maybe that's a go what I can do. So, but yeah,
Awesome.
um,
And I know we have like only a couple of seconds, but another framework that I am trying and I'm like really excited about is like Redwood SDK. So if you're
ooh, I
gonna,
haven't. No, I
yeah,
haven't seen it.
So it's React framework, which is very much like built for Cloudflare. It takes a lot of good things about Cloudflare, makes it really easy to use uh, services from Cloudflare easy into a React application. And one thing they also do really well is they are following like the web standards, and not
Mhm.
they are not trying to reinvent the wheel. So helps you build an application which easily runs on Cloudflare, but also keeps you gives you a lot of flexibility because you're not tied down to how the framework wants you to build an application. You are Because you now have access to the standards, you can decide how you want to build an application.
And I think that also combines well with Hono, because Hono also builds on web standards, right? So that
Exactly.
seems to be a fit. Is that something that I guess it's open source, right? The Webbook
It is
SDK.
open source. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's open
And
source. Sorry.
do the maintainers work at Cloudflare? I just asked. Oh no, no, no.
No, they don't. They are like huge fans of Cloudflare,
Okay,
and I love
cool.
interacting with them because I learn a lot from them always.
No, I was just curious, but like, okay, cool. I need to check that out as well. Um, I think you gave me some homework, Harshil, which is great. And yeah, maybe we can go deeper in one of the next versions of the stream, discover a little bit more about things in TanStack, but also maybe we can talk about Redwood SDK. I think that would be also interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can grab some of your time for one of the next streams. We can discuss it afterwards.
Definitely.
Maybe we do something online in summer, right? So maybe it's already a pre-announcement thing that we might have some hacking challenges coming up in the summer months. So maybe also that keep
For
an eye.
that, maybe folks want to kind of brush up their skills around building applications. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it will be maybe not. Maybe we do something with front end, but it's mainly around workers and Hono APIs and MCP servers. But Fiberplane has a tool that helps you to generate those. So maybe a fun challenge could be to get a front end from a generated API or something like that. So, well, we will figure out, I guess. Sorry, I just wanted to drop already that something is in the making that has
But
no
but
shape
also
yet.
for the
But
folks in Berlin, we should also tell them
ooh,
about what's coming up in Berlin. I hope this is the right link.
yay. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
We host the World Wide Web AI and Agents and MCP Server Hack Night. We will be in the Content Full office. Harshil, you are not there because it's super exciting. You go to the Barcelona
The
BCN Dev
VCN. Yeah.
conference, Dev BCN conference, and you will have a talk there. I'm super sad I missed that, but it's super cool that you go. If you are in Barcelona, we will have some fun on the hack night. And yeah, I guess we will update you afterwards.
Awesome. And for the folks who can attend it, I would say go ahead because I know in the last one we had a lot of fun. And also we did this in London and I have heard like really, really good stories about it. So definitely if you are in Berlin, don't miss it out.
Yes, that's a good call out. Cool. And I think with that, we can end the stream. We have no out jingle or whatever. So I just press very drastically the end stream button now.